Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Scarecrow, and welcome to Closet Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Underworld, Rise of the Lycans. It was made in 2009, and it's about 1 hour and 29 minutes long. Starring Rhonda Mitras, Michael Sheen, and Billy Nye. And the Underworld series is basically about the war between werewolves and vampires. But they don't call them werewolves in the story, they call them Lycans. They never used the term werewolf in the series, as far as I know. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And it's an action fantasy prequel to the Underworld series. It's basically how the series started, but it's actually the last movie made in the series. So the movie starts with explaining the war between the vampires and the Lycans, and this character Victor, played by Billy Nye, he is basically making an army of vampires, and during this process he comes across a boy that is a Lycan hybrid, that he can turn into a Lycan, from human to a Lycan at will. And normally Lycans can't do that, they're just in beast form, they can't turn back. So he uses this boy's blood, Lucian, it's called Lucian's blood, to make a slave army that will protect the vampires while they are, during daytime when they're weak, can't protect themselves. So they basically get these bracelets around their neck with thorns in them, so if they transform they basically kill themselves. It's kind of a safety protection. And Victor more or less adapts Lucian as his own son, and as long as he behaves he's treated kind of well. And Victor also has a daughter named Sonia, and at first in the movie they seem like she hates him, but later they grew up, and Lucian works as a blacksmith. He sharpens the tools of the vampire death dealers, they're called, I think. And he stops a riot, torture of a slave by an overseer with a whip, and he gets called out, being called a dog. And later Lucian sneaks away to the sewers to meet up with Sonia, and apparently they are lovers. And then he talks about both of them leaving and starting out somewhere else. And later there's a fresh supply of new slaves that are about to arrive. And there's a dark forest and a kind of a mood-setting scene with a caravan of nobles, I think. And cutting to another scene, there's a character known as Thanis, another vampire. I think he's some kind of servant to Victor, a kind of a, like an assistant or something. And he basically knows Sonia's and Lucian's secrets. They're lovers, basically. And he tells Lucian about this, so he's gonna have something like a leverage if something goes wrong, and he kind of has something on him. And in the next scene they cut back to the caravan being attacked by wild Lycans. And Sonia's character is basically there to escort them to the vampire keep where Victor is at. And they refuse to send out help. And Lucian realized this, and he realized that they're going to get slaughtered by the Lycans. So he steals a horse and he rides out there to confront the Lycans. And there's a fight that breaks out, and Lucian takes off his neck bracelet, slave bracelet, because he's made a key. Because he's a blacksmith, he could actually make this little key, and he uses it to take this off, and he transforms into a Lycan. And the other Lycans kind of fear him. So there's this thing that they know he's kind of a natural leader, and they back up from the the caravan into the forest woodsy, and Victor kind of pins him down because he has disobeyed him. Basically, that's what it is. And for doing this, he gets taken back as a prisoner to the vampire keep, the fortress or whatever, and he gets strapped up to a pole, and he gets 30 lashes across his back. And the overseer that called him dog, basically he enjoys this because he can get his revenge out. And while he's being whipped, Lucian's being whipped, from the window Sonia can see all of this. And then Lucian gets thrown into jail with the caravan crew and another character named Razor. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Victor is having a meeting in the grand hall of his keep, talking to a bunch of miners. And he realizes that the silver that they brought him is not enough. So he talks to them, why am I not getting my silver? And the workers, leaders, tells him that the miners basically got infected by Lycans, so he can't offer him more silver. It's due to the protection the vampires, or the High Lords that they are supposed to protect him from the bites of Lycans. And they argue, and during the heat of the argument, Victor kills him, the leader of the silver miners, revealing to the rest of the group that he himself is a vampire. And in this world, vampires are basically nobles and high ups, and the last thing they want is to be exposed. But Victor kind of flat out ignores this. And in the next scene, Lucian stops a fight between two Lycans in the cell, and he basically tells them that we're not dogs, we're better than this, we're not their pets, we're not there for their entertainment. And then Sonia and Victor sort of talks about the execution of Lucian. So I think at this part she's trying to play off that she's innocent, and that's the whole idea. And somehow she finds out that the character of Thanis basically knows the secret, so she confronts him, takes basically a knife to her throat and confronts him about this. And all Thanis really wants is a seat on the Vampire Council, so he agrees to help her and Lucian. So he gives Lucian the key, and they arrange a meeting, basically, so they can talk it out. So they agree to meet at a clearing later on, when things are on, when the escape happens, I mean. So the stupid thing about this escape scene is that Lucian gets the keys to the cells, and he kills the overseer, and he frees some prisoners. And the stupid thing is, and it's a minor nitpick, I know, but they could have done the escape during daytime when the vampires were asleep and when they were weak and they couldn't follow them, but they escape. And I mean, a lot of the Lycans and prisoners, they kind of die because of a stupid decision. But anyway, they manage to escape, and Lucian kind of says, I will return for you, or the surviving ones. And the morning breaks, and the vampires can't follow them out on the steppes, on the plains. And then Lucian has a speech to the survivors, and he says, either we can run forever, or we can still stand and fight. And at this point he goes to a cave to recruit some other Lycans, wild Lycans. And we don't see the outcome of it, but he managed to do so. And so the group wait in this clearing. They're basically waiting for Sonia to arrive. That was the deal, but Sonia is not actually coming back. So they wait a little more, and then Sonia's friend, I think she's a vampire, confronts him and tells Lucian basically that Sonia is supposed to be executed because of what she's done, because it's kind of impure to breed the two species together. So in an earlier scene, I forgot to tell, Victor samples a bit of her daughter Sonia's blood, and by doing so he can see the memories that she had and experienced, and then he realized that she has betrayed her, and now he basically has to kill her because she's impure. She's basically pregnant with this abomination. Because of Victor's pure bloodness, he can't allow this, and it's not going to be accepted by the council and everything. And that's finds out about this. And Lucian preps for battle, going back to Vampire Keep. So Lucian sneaks into the Vampire Keep by himself, and he rescues Sonia, and they try to escape through the sewers. But Victor and his vampire army stops them by throwing down oil and fire and forcing them up to the surface. And there they fight each other. And during this fight, they get outnumbered, and Sonia tells Lucian that she's pregnant, and Victor and them throws him into a jail cell. And later they're taken to a big hall, and Sonia is chained to a pillar in the middle of the room, and Lucian is chained to the floor. And the chamber door opens, and the vampire council arrive. And there is a voting what they should do, and they all unanimously agreed that this abomination that is in her should not exist. So then they leave the room, and they open up the rooftop so that when the sun comes in, she'll basically be destroyed. And that's exactly what happens. So Lucian is bound to the floor by chains. He can't escape. He's basically trapped in that situation, watching her die. And then the council return. And then during the nighttime, of course, so he's able to transform into his Lycan form, and he tries to escape, and he gets up to the fortress wall, and he gets shot a bunch of times, and then he howls, and all of the Lycans and all of the half Lycans or half breeds hear this, and they attack the fortress, and there's a big fight. And during this fight, Victor tries to escape through the sewers, and Lucian follows him, and they basically fight in a kind of a well, or like a shaft, and the sunlight is shining down and basically hitting Victor so he can't move, and Lucian gets the upper hand, and he basically kills Victor with a sword, and Victor falls into the water. And after this scene, Lucian gets out into the sunlight to confront this army. But before this scene takes place, Victor tells Thanis that this is important, and I'm good at forgetting things. But Victor tells Thanis that he's supposed to keep the elder vampire safe, and this is a part of the story of the Underworld movies, is that there is only one supreme vampire that are allowed to rule at the time. So while one is ruling, the others are asleep, basically kept in their coffins. So Thanis takes these coffins out to a boat. This is happening during the Lucian and Victor fight, I guess, if I remember correctly. And as I said, Lucian confronts his new Lycan army, this is a good end, Razor says. No, this is just the beginning. And then cutting to the ship, and apparently Victor is alive, and they're going off to another country, another beginning. And that's sort of where the movie ends, tying in with the whole series of the other characters, Celine standing or squatting on the balcony, sort of the first movie. I'm not going to spoil that, you have to see that yourself, but it was kind of a good movie. It wasn't as long as the previous movies. It's like it's more or less mindless action, good special effects, really good special effects. It's not one of those A movies, but it takes itself so serious enough to be a franchise, and kind of does something a little bit different. You know, you have all these old vampire movies where they're basically like this kind of pompous, kind of overclass killers, but they can kind of get away with it because this is they have a little more character developments. They're not all in their coffins kind of crouching up like Dracula, but they're kind of like, they are overclass, but they're more believable, I guess. And it's overall, it's just one of those movies that you can get some popcorn, just sit and watch, and you don't really have to follow along. You can just, okay, sure, this is fine, this is kind of short, good movie. I can definitely recommend this movie, but not starting with Rise of the Lycans. Start with the first Underworld and then work your way up, and it gets better as it goes. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this. Take care.